The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
So let's talk about the icky stuff.
Oh.
Ish is here, so let's talk about the ick factor. Have you ever dated someone and you're over the moon, but then they do something and it makes you cringe a little bit? So this scenario played out on Seinfeld, Friends, and Sex and the City. But what happens when you experience the ick factor in real life? So I think this is a reasonable thing to talk about, where you really like someone, maybe you've been on a few dates, maybe you've been together for a while, and then something happens, and you are grossed out by it. Is this a reason to break up?
Yes. Absolutely. Listen, the ick saved my life. I can testify to how powerful the ick is. I'll tell you a quick story. Many, many years ago, I'm on a date, beautiful, drop-dead, gorgeous young lady, smart, funny, clever, witty, successful, the whole 9 yards, right? We went out for Italian. I had the lasagna, she had the spaghetti and meatballs. I can confirm for you she had spaghetti and meatballs because every single time I looked up from my lasagna, all I could see was her mouth full of meatballs. As she talked with her mouth open and chewed and gasped for air all at the same time, all I could hear was pop, 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 as she's trying to breathe, and it traumatized me.
She was sucking in those meatballs.
So
that was my ick.
for you, that was
That
your
was
ick.
my ick. My ick told me
You're
to
still
run.
struggling.
My ick told me to run, and I hit the parking lot and never looked back.
So would you say that everybody's ick, like people's individual ick, may be their own intuition, like just something isn't right? Because it doesn't seem like it was just the meatballs,
It's
right?
not
There
the
was
meatballs.
something else.
Correct. The ick is your intuition, and it's trying to tell you that something deeper is going on here. The connection is not what it seems, because we're paying attention to about 25% of what we see. But there's 75% of stuff that's going on under the surface that's informing us about these people that we never really registers, but the ick registers.
Everyone's rolled over at some point and their spouse has terrible breath and you're like, ooh, that's a rough one. I mean, we all, sometimes, look, how do you delineate between the true ick factor where you're realizing this is not the person for me, and okay.
The icky factor, where
Right,
it's just
like,
something temporarily gross.
Like we kissed last night and her breath smelled like mint, and
roses.
we kissed tonight and it smells like garlic.
Trust your feelings, right? Yeah. The ick, if the ick sticks around and you're still thinking about it an hour later or a day later or a week later, then that's a problem. That's a sign that
Like
something
you're
deeper
still
is
thinking
going
about
on.
the meatballs.
Yeah.
10 years later, I can still see the meatballs. I just can't get over it.
And your wife's now a meticulous eater, and she wipes her mouth. And,
But I could see this point, she may or may not be, right? But it's when your gut is telling you there's something amiss,
There's something
you'll
amiss.
have some ick factor.
the ick is there to
We've
protect
been
you.
there.
everybody is different. Everybody is quirky about certain things. I mean, if somebody's breath is not appealing or you don't like the way somebody eats, we have different thresholds for what. I'm not sure if the meatballs would have turned me off immediately.
Right.
Maybe I would have.
Right, so that's a good point, Dr. O. One man's ick is another man's ecstasy, right? Because there are certain things that I don't have that don't register for me, but they really ring the bells for you. And so here's the thing that you do. If you're staying with the ick and you're trying to work your way through it, well, you're robbing that person of the joy of showing up for their next date or their next relationship. This person seeing all of their icks and not only accepting all of them, but just loving them for it, right? That's the cool thing about being loved. You pick this person and they picked you back, icks and all. And so don't rob each other of that opportunity. If it's not for you, then let that person go, because there's gonna be somebody out there who's ick-free for you. And that's gonna be a beautiful thing.
If you do choose to let them go, is it appropriate to tell them why? Like, do you share what happened, or is it something you should just keep to yourself and, you know, like you said, it may be someone else's ecstasy and you just let it be?
Right, so for me, it depends on how close you were and how much friends you were in that relationship. Today's the first day I've ever shared my meatball story. So for me, no, because we weren't that close. But if it's somebody who's like, hey, you know what? If they come back and ask you what happens, then by all means share and be honest.
I really, really hope that the woman is not watching this episode because
You're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're absolutely stunning, and I hope if you haven't found him yet, the right guy is out there just waiting to take you for another
And I'll have
spaghetti and
meatballs with you.
Dr. Ish, thank you, sir.